I spent the last couple of years obsessing over one question. Why do some videos feel like cinema and others look great but communicate absolutely nothing? After working with dozens of brands and influencers here in Italy, I finally found the missing link. So in this video, I'm breaking down 3 specific shifts that gave my work the soul it was lacking, and the most important part of the entire process happens after you put your camera down. I'll show you exactly what I mean in just a few minutes. Let's get in. Okay, so the first thing I want to touch on is the composition. Most people learn about the rule of thirds or the leading lines, and they think that they checked all the cinematic boxes. But composition isn't about making only the frame pleasing, it's about defining your subject's role inside that world. When I'm filming someone or something, I'm constantly asking, who is this person or thing in this moment? Do they have authority, or does someone else have authority on them? That's why for every person, scene, or thing that I shoot, I try to think about that. For example, the authority shot, I shoot from a low angle, looking up, giving them power, and telling the audience that this person is in control. And obviously the opposite is the vulnerable human. So if I shoot it like from a high angle looking down, I'm stripping that power away, simply with a different shot. I'm making them look small, relatable, and overwhelmed. Now, there are a ton of these shots. I'll list them all right here. These are all the ones I personally like to use. I don't use every single one on every single video, but I do like to read them like when I'm working on the pre-production or before I shoot, in case I want to change something up. Now, another concept that I really like in composition is working with negative space. Cinematography is also about like what you don't show, in my opinion. So online you see all the centered shots and all the people in front of the camera, but if you use negative space, like leaving a large part of the frame empty, you communicate more than you think. For example, loneliness or freedom or anticipation. You can communicate everything. You can communicate multiple things simply by leaving space for the viewers to use their imagination. And what I want to underline after talking about all these tactics is that composition is a feeling. I personally really love to experiment. Even if I have a whole storyboard, I often spend extra 20 minutes just moving my camera around in my scene just so that I can experiment more. I'd rather have 50 experimental clips that I never use rather than missing the one shot that feels right. I personally like to call this the creative insurance. So you need more clips than you think. Always, this is a law in video making and in cinematography. So having a good pre-production is essential, but most of the time I feel like when I'm in that situation, when I'm in that scene, my creativity pops out and I actually can see what I'm trying to communicate. Now, touching a bit on pre-production, if you're working with clients, especially maybe here in Italy, because they're really picky, you wouldn't say, but they're picky, you need to be extremely prepared. You need to plan so that you don't look like an amateur, and I think that that's insanely good. You always need to be prepared, but you shouldn't fall in the trap of the machine mindset. Now, what do I mean by this? If you do 100% of the creative work in your office or your studio, whatever, weeks before the shoot, you've turned yourself into a simple technician when you're filming. You're just showing up and you just execute a system. And when you act like this, like a machine, I think that the video feels like it was made by one. I think that you should always leave space, leave room for multiple experimental shots, or also shots where you don't do pre-production, you just leave them there so that you force your creativity to run in that situation. You're maybe stressed because you need to get the perfect shot, and there is when the real creativity comes, and there is where you actually put yourself in the video. That's what happens to me most of the time. Now, for this pre-production process, I've started living by the 70-30 rule. So 70% of the shoot is completely planned, structured, and saved, and that's for basically the client. But the other 30%, that's for me, for the artist that is in me, the space that I leave for complete spontaneity. Spontaneity. I think it's spontaneity. So let me give you an example. I was filming this video for a gym where I had basically every shot scripted and almost all the storyboard done. However, once I was on site, I saw that the subject's outfit popped up against a specific location. So I went off script and captured some more extra movements in that location. The client really loved it, and they were surprised and impressed that I took the lead and I added to my own creative touch and the clip ended up to making the final cut and actually being incredibly important for the video. Now, I think that the art that we are in is one of the most like creative mediums on earth. Now, I am probably biased, but I actually do believe so. And if you don't leave the room to be surprised by the light or the subject movements, you're just killing your creative muscle because you're just doing everything before and nothing when you're actually at work. So at the end of the day, the more you allow yourself to play, the more you are going to develop your signature style and your actual skills. Now let's talk about where the story actually lives. It's in the edit. Cutting clips on time sounds maybe easy, but it's where most creators fail. Pacing in videos is everything. Talking head videos, or maybe commercial videos, or even just simply effect videos. Like, timing and pacing is essential. For example, in these talking head videos that I do, for example, also in this one, I use the B-roll as a sort of bridge. So if I have a cut in my A-roll, I don't just leave the jump cut. Obviously, most of the times I do, but I try to cover it with as much B-roll that I can that provides context or explanation for what I'm talking about in the video. For example, if I'm talking about a casual B-rolled clip, I'll stay on that clip, but the moment I want to emphasize a point, like right now, you see how it cut like exactly on the now, I cut back to the camera. And that's as easy as that for talking head videos. There are a ton of other ways you can cut really good your content. For example, with J cuts or L cuts. I mean, it's endless. It's really endless. So you should study specifically that. So how to cut a video, how to study pacing. That's really gonna improve your videos and make them a lot more cinematic. Now, another thing I really like to do in my videos, now not specifically in my talking head, but maybe in other videos, is the eye tracing. So this is another concept I found online that changed completely my workflow. When I cut from one clip to another, I always like to ask, where are my viewers' eyes? So for example, if your subject is on the right side of your clip A, your subject on clip B should also be on the right side or sort of like in that area. This is simply because when you jump from one clip to another, you want to basically transport the viewer with you and not just do like one clip when the subject is in one position or the other. It just gets too messy. You need to basically feel like you're transporting the viewer on a story, even if it's like an effects video, if it's a talking head video, everything, you need to transport the people inside your videos. Now, these are some great ways to make your videos more cinematic, but let's be honest here, without a good camera, your videos are still gonna look flat. So if you're into vlogs, I made a video talking about the best budget vlogging camera there is on the market today in 2026. If you're interested in that, the video is right here. Me, I'll see you in the next one, boys. Ciao, ciao.